right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And we have another episode of Breaking the Block for you. We've got a couple of questions that we have saved. But if you have any questions here in the chat, make sure to put them in with a Q at the beginning. That way I can just pick them out easier. But I'm going to let my co-hosts introduce themselves. So, Rita, if you want to go first this way, and then Maggie.
Okay, I'm Rita, also Miranda from Miranda's Cauldron. I write young adult urban fantasy because of witches and elementals. And I sprint normally Monday and Saturdays.
Hello, lovelies. I'm Mama Maggie Ward, independent author, stroke survivor, migraine sufferer, and I write books. My latest release is Anemones in the Wind, which is technically book 4 of the Pagosa Cliffs Anemones series, but I am re-releasing books 1 through 3 in the new year after a little bit of rewriting and reformatting. And so here I am. I write overcomer genres, sci-fi, sci-fantasy, and twisted mythology with this year's release of The Spartan Chimera. So check out my author page. I've got reading for everyone, and for Bookmas, #Bookmas, starting today for this week, I have the Ghost with Cats, Ghost with Ink, Ghost with Hope, the Book of Ello sci-fi series is on sale for 99 cents for the entire week. So a ghostwriter with PTSD who retired from the NSA, aliens, on the run for Christmas from Omni Energy. So check it out.
All right, that's awesome. I popped some links into the chat. I've got Rita's channel and Maggie's book links, so make sure to check them out. If you aren't already following them, be sure to do so. For those of you who do not know me, I am writer Sam Wicker, and I am a writer of fantasy, romance, and I have a pen name that writes fantasy erotica. And I have published 1 book so far, and another one is coming out on Friday the 13th. Kind of didn't really plan it that way, but it happened. So, yeah. Hey, we have a question. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. How do you celebrate finishing a draft?
Oh, I go down to my friend's. My friend has a copy kiosk, so I go down and get a copy. I'm not really one to celebrate finishing a draft as much as because for the last 8 years I've written. I write to deal with my stroke symptoms. So the finishing the initial draft is something that is just one more step for me. But when I actually get to hold the copy of my book, I'm like, oh, I've done it. My baby, such a pretty baby. Yeah, no, that holding the printed copies, that is my celebration. That is my endorphin hit. Good morning, Jen. Because I have a 15-step process, I have all these, and I don't want to say it's a generational thing. It's just a Gen X thing that we do not reward ourselves. But yeah, OCD Gold Brain wants the book done. So rewarding myself is something that I am learning to do.
Okay, the first time I finally finished my first draft, it was about 100,000 words. And at the time I was living in the city. So I went down to our local coffee shop and had a drink. And That was pretty much it. I did take the rest of the day off from writing. And then the next day I just went right into reading and revising it. I haven't had the opportunity to have an actual but I can imagine what that would be like. I just can't wait.
Right.
One of the things I suggest is if you are on Amazon, when you start putting the back matter in, to help your editing process, everyone says print out a copy of your book. You can get a print copy from Amazon for like $5 or $6, and just not the final copy, but it'll come with a stripe across it that says "not for sale." That is a proof copy. Yeah, just like that. Do that, because holding that physical copy, first of all, it gives you a different perspective on reading it, on editing it. I don't know why I change fonts and change colors of inks and listen to my head. I have a 15-step editing process. It's insane, but it works for OCD Go Brain. But there's something about holding the printed copy of your book and actually looking through it that just it encourages you to continue that process. It really is. It's like, here's an actual thing I can physically touch. And that tactile sensation, I mean, I know we're such a digital age. Everyone is attached to their ebooks. Everyone is attached to their devices. But actually holding that physical representation of your words is really an encouragement to push forward into finishing the draft, finishing the editing, moving things around. And here's another thing is that editing copy that you're going to write in, that you're going to cover in red ink and blue ink and purple ink and green ink, and move this here and edit this word here and rewrite this paragraph. When you hold that copy and you hold your final copy side by side, you can see the arc that you've done. That is such an endorphin hit.
Yeah, I looked into doing the proof copy because everybody keeps saying about doing the proof copying and editing it one last time in book format. And I went into KDP and I was so overwhelmed. But I wanted to do that last year. But now since I've got it ready for like viewers or readers, I think I can probably understand the process a little bit better and do that first before I hit live.
Oh, yeah.
And how many proof copies can you buy? Can you buy more than one? Can you buy like 2?
Yeah, you can buy as many as you want.
Okay.
For the original Huntsman books, I have like 3 versions of it before the final version. And it's just you don't go live, you just upload it and you get to the final and you order the author proof without putting the book live. And I actually have one book in there that is literally proof copies. And that is the one that I use for all of my test books. But the thing is if you go to like Kinko's or something, Quick Print, or something like that to order your book, it's like $30 or $40 to order your book printed. And if you print it out at home, it's still like half an ink cartridge. So that's like $50. So ordering it through Amazon, it gives you a couple weeks rest because you have to wait for it to come to you. And then you can start going through it page by page.
I always figured it'd be so much more money just getting your own book printed.
Yeah. If you go through a print shop, it is, but with Amazon's back end, you can get a more affordable proof.
Yeah. And Ingram Spark, if you use Ingram Spark as an aggregator, they actually prompt you to buy a proof. It's a little bit more than Amazon, but it's still there, and you can buy multiple copies of that proof if you want to. Like just now, I had to reformat I'm No Hero, and I went ahead and ordered a proof copy of Capture the Empress too, because I haven't done one from Ingram Spark yet. So I think it came to $22 for both of them, and that's with shipping and handling and processing and everything. And so yeah. It costs a little bit more than Amazon, but it's there.
Yeah.
And,
And celebrating getting that first draft done. Please do that. Don't be a mama. Don't be a mama and believe that you only get to celebrate after you have the final copy. Please celebrate your wins. Good for your mental health. My niece,
don't be a Sam and just push through.
my goddaughter is here. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, Nova.
All right, so just to answer the quick question, I don't celebrate either. I'm trying to learn to celebrate. I have a couple of people checking in on me, making sure that I do celebrate whenever they know that I've accomplished something. So having a check-in buddy helps, especially with your self-care and your mental health kind of thing. But Eva says, I give myself so much self-care, though. One could say my life is a celebration. That's awesome. My husband celebrates, though. He just adores me with words and sometimes a gift. Awesome. That is so cool. Jenny says that she's the same as Maggie. Cat Paw says, finished the send to editor, went for a boba tea with flatmate, and took a day off. That sounds good. I like that. All right. So, next question. This one I kind of pulled off of one of the communities that I'm in with different writers. How do you choose which platforms to use for your author platform if you have no experience with any of them? Which ones do you think is best for authors?
Oh, I had when I started with publishing, the Editingle Indie House set me up on several different platforms, and it was just too much for me to manage. I had a Wix page, I had a blogger.com page, I had Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and it was just, but this was before this was years ago, and it was the first year I felt like I was spending more time managing all the medias, doing all of the, because they're like, you need to post every week, or there were some people that were saying you need to post every day, and that's just, if you're not writing, you can go and post every single day on 8 or 10 different platforms. But if you have a life with children and pets and health issues and a farm and everything, then no. So my main platform, weirdly enough, I think Inkit is actually more of my main platform. And then I post through Twitter, Instagram. I got onto Blue Skye, and I switched from blogger.com to Substack, and I shut down my Wix page because I wasn't getting any traffic to you pay for this page. It's expensive to maintain a website, and if you're not getting traffic to it, then it's just a hole in the internet. And so I encourage you to do your research. I encourage you to look at different platforms, see where your genre is, because if you write romance, it feels like you can't not. If you write romance or romantasy, it feels like you can't not be on TikTok. So just do your research.
Romance is kind of everywhere too.
Yeah, so just do your research for what platform is best for your genre. There are a lot of authors on Facebook that have that are older, more my generation authors, and so yeah, just do your research for which platform, and also find out which platform fits best with your workflow, with your creativity flow, because having all the platforms is great. I do recommend reserving your author name on all platforms. That was the one thing that I did right when I started as an author, is I reserved Pen Number Mind MM Ward. Pen Number Mind is my writing LLC. I reserved it on all platforms. That was the one thing that I did right. So yeah, but if it doesn't do any good for you to have all the platforms if you're not using them.
For me, I was already comfortable in using Facebook for so long. I just decided one day to start a pen name for that, but I don't really post very much there. I decided I wasn't going to go to TikTok because it was all the whole videos and I wasn't ready for that. But everybody was on Instagram, so I decided after all these years that maybe I should join Instagram too. And that's pretty much it. And besides, obviously, YouTube. Because of the writing spreads, I was getting more comfortable using it, so I just decided to do that. So research, like Mama Maggie said, and maybe whatever you're more comfortable with. Like if you don't want to go to Twitter, then don't. If you don't want to go to TikTok, then just don't. Because if you don't like it over there, then you probably won't stick with it.
Right. So this was actually a good conversation that we had in one of the author tube writing conference classes. I can't remember which one it was, but always reserve your pen names or author names on every platform that you can, no matter what. That way, when people look you up, there's not going to be some random stranger posting under your author name and they think it's you. But other than that, just do what you're comfortable with. Like Maggie and Rita has said, it's difficult being social because most of us are introverts. So even if you're behind a screen, it's still being social, and it is very, very draining. It's, for me, I'm speaking for me here. And that in and of itself takes away from my writing and takes away from my editing because it takes my energy. So I'm only here on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. Every now and then I post to Facebook. And the only reason why I post regularly to Instagram and Facebook is because I schedule my posts out. I take one day every 2 weeks and schedule my post out as best as I can through Canva. And that's my Instagram and Facebook. Blue Skye is new. It's not on Canva schedule thing yet, so I have to try to remember to go over there. I've been pretty active over there so far since I started it, so just do what you're comfortable with. I tried the whole TikTok thing. No. Even trying to cut up my videos that I do on here to post over to TikTok, it's just not worth it to me. Eva says, I stopped having an author platform. I exist to socialize on social media, and that naturally attracts writers and readers so far. Exactly. Jeannie says, lots of research and asking my author friends what they think of the platforms before I even consider them seriously. Eva enjoys TikTok due to the ease of posting randomness. Yeah. And other than the unicorns, does it really matter? There are authors out there doing great without a social media account. That's true. It just, again, It just depends on what type of author you want to be.
And you can use for a while, we were able to use actually our Amazon pages as a author platform, and then they dropped the ability to link our blogs and other sites in there. So yeah, that kind of went downhill. But it's just what is, you need to determine yourself what is the site that you're going to use. Because I'm not like Sam. I'm not on TikTok. I find it an extremely toxic platform, the same way I find Goodreads. There's authors who basically their platform is their Goodreads page. And I find Goodreads to be a horrid site filled with trolls and just and rabid fandoms. And I for the last 5 or 6 years, my stuff is on Goodreads. People have left reviews and my stuff is on Goodreads, but I don't. There's an author page there that was created in the beginning and stuff gets added to it, and I never have anything to do with it because I never post reviews for anything I read on Goodreads or anything. Goodreads is, I don't know. The thing that finally was the straw that broke the camel's back on Goodreads is we found an author that had stole over 120 books off of Wattpad. They published the books as ebooks, even the unfinished ones. They didn't edit them or do anything. So even the original author's notes are on the bottoms of the chapters and stuff. And they posted all of like 120 books onto Amazon. We were able to get Amazon to take down the page. There was a group of us that went to Amazon and were like, all of these are stolen books. This is my book. This is my book. And at first it was like they were doing it piecemeal. And then they just took down the entire author's page. And then they ended up having to do it like 3 or 4 times. But the problem is the reviews were already going onto Goodreads. And Goodreads completely and absolutely refused to take the page for the fake author down. And even though they had literally dozens of authors going, these 3 are my books. This one is my book. I was going, this is my book. I did not give them the permission to use this. I did not give them the permission to publish it. And they're like, well, we don't take down reviews. And it's like you're damaging every author whose book was plagiarized. So that was during the pandy, and I was done with Goodreads at that point. It's what platform works best for your books, for your genre. And what platform works for you? Because like I said, if you don't use it, having it, paying for it, it won't help you at all.
Yeah, it's just a drain. Jenny says, also can only handle the 4 major and don't post a ton except for this month for Postmas. Right. And then we've got a question and I'll come back up to it. Here we go. I have 2 pen names on all platforms. I have done nothing with any of them. I understand. They're just placeholders I sign into every month to keep active. Yes. And again, that's a good thing because you don't want some stranger grabbing up your author name and then posting random stuff in under it. If you're just a commercial, no one is going to buy your books. Be a person on social media. So sick of brands and yeah.
Who is it?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm trying to think of it. There's what? I can't think of her name right now. She's got a stream with Sacco and Doc Coleman today. I can remember their names.
Morgan
Hazelwood.
Morgan, yeah.
Okay, Morgan Hazelwood is Hazelwood on one platform. I think it's Twitter, because the person who has Morgan Hazelwood opened an account, never used it, and so securing your author name, your author brand is thing. Also, please Google your author name, because I know someone, he picked an author name and I was like, that's the former head of the KKK, right? And they were like, what?
Oh gosh, no,
Like one of the
no.
one of them back in the 70s. So yeah, when it was really hot. Yeah, Google M.M. Ward. I Googled it. I checked everywhere before I went with M.M. Ward, and there's like one company in the UK that it's a very small estate law firm, and that is the only use of M.M. Ward as a name of a business. So please Google, because if Stephanie Whitson, when she went live with her author name at first, there was another person with her name. And that can, if somebody's Googling you and they're finding 3 or 4, and this happens a lot in romantasy and romance with the indie authors, that the names, there are several people with identical or almost identical names. And so, yeah, please Google your author name, once you find a name that works for you, reserve it on all platforms, even if you're not posting it. And, you can just post a random comment, working on my book. Here's an excerpt, and here's me having coffee because I love my community or something. Autumn leaves are changing here. We had 4 feet of snow a month ago, and today it was 60 degrees, which is like my real life right now. So yeah, please. These they seem like, oh, it's just something I can do later. No, go ahead and do it now. Go ahead and do it now. And if you never end up using it, you can always just take all the accounts down. There is no law that says once you open an account, you have to keep it forever. No, you can just go geek. Yes, I would like to delete my account, and just take it down and change it to something else.
Yeah. Cat Paul says, I took a cue from one of my indie fave writers, only post when I have something to say. Yeah. Let's see. Let me scroll back up to the question.
I'm sorry, Rita?
Yes, I know now what I'm doing this afternoon, signing up for TikTok and Blue Sky and Threads. I think is another thing I keep seeing something with Instagram.
I'm not on Threads. I know a lot of authors who get no traffic, who get no sales through Threads. I have I've gotten 1 sale through Blue Sky. I've gotten several sales. I know people bash Twitter because they hate Elon Musk, but that's the platform I get my most sales through. I get more sales through Twitter and Ko-fi, and the Twitter link to my Ko-fi than I do on all my other platforms.
Gotcha. It's YouTube for me because I'm more active here than anywhere else, I do believe. So, again, it just depends on you. What you're comfortable with, what you feel like you have the energy to put into. But still, yeah. All right, so question time. How does one approach writing when they have never actually written an original story to completion? I have the ideas and the story beats in mind, but I get overwhelmed every time.
Yeah, we've been working. Is this the Cookie Kingdom story, Nova? The fanfic? Writing can be very intimidating. There's a lot of books out there that, they're like, Save the Cat and Story Beats and stuff like, and all different books that are out there. But those can be as intimidating as writing the story itself.
I like this. And writers will lose themselves in writer advice. Tread carefully.
Yes. The books are good to help you learn a system, but if that system doesn't work for you, if it doesn't make sense for you, that becomes the problem. I use the writing the tree method, where I will get inspired. I will start with a scene. I will write several scenes. I will then do the world build. I will reorganize the scenes and try to create a plot. You know my writing style. You lived with me for a year, so you know that, or for almost a year. And so, you know, my writing style is just bleh, word vomit. So yeah, just
or digital, and just write down everything that you have in your mind of different ideas and the characters, and give them names, and maybe try outlining, and then just write those first words and just get it out and then edit later. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Try to remember everything Mrs. Sargent taught you in school. Honestly, Nova, have you considered, I know you're an artist, have you considered maybe storyboarding your story in like a graphic art style, you know, drawing a sketch for each chapter to help you get your ideas in order? She's very talented.
That's awesome. But yeah, anytime something is stuck in your head, you have to try to get it out somewhere, because otherwise it's just going to keep churning and it'll drive you crazy. So any way that you can get it out, do it. Even if it's just an outline, a storyboard, or and then you can always go back and tie everything together, flesh everything out. Just get it out. Let's see.
I have something to say about Cammie's comment about romancing the beat and her library. I don't know where you are, but I know at my public library, we have access to the whole province. So maybe you can do that through your library, or maybe if your library does have other writing craft books, talk to your librarian. They may order it in for you and buy it, because other people may want it too.
Yeah. Or if you have a library card, download the Libby app if you can read ebooks. And most everything is on Libby, and it acts like a library. So if all the copies that they have are out, you'll have to be on the list for it. But a lot of craft books are on there, I do believe, if you like reading ebooks. But like Rita said, with the library, make sure that you go to your library. They can help you out. Noah says that they actually have illustrations. It's connecting the tissue that's hard. Yeah.
There's a reason that the in-between scenes, especially toward the middle of the book, is called the muddy middle, because you have the exciting scenes, the plot scenes, the touching scenes. You have those big scenes, but you can't just have the big scenes in the book. You have to have the slice of life scenes. You have to have the daily journey in between. You know, it's always great to get to the destination, to get to the scenic overlook, but the drive is like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Yeah. So just, you know, it's just try to, that's part of the reason that I do the character interview, the 30 question character interview and the 30 question world build, is to help you give your characters something to do in your world when they're not having their big moments.
Right. And with the muddy middle thing, I found, so this is how I work with trying to tie scenes in together. If I'm having a hard time, I go pick a chore that I absolutely hate doing. And more than likely, I get great ideas to thread everything along. So if that might help, take that idea and run with it. Okay. All right. Do either one of you have questions that you want to go over before we hit the next one?
Just one thing, they're now having this whole swarm of movies that are hitting the entertainment complex that is basically just remakes. And here, this is a struggle for authors. We all get inspired by media. Cordy and Hala from Hala Moon Studios are doing what's called Consumathon right now, which is where they are having people talk about, it's basically an entire month devoted to refilling your creative well. And there's like Team Foodie, which I did not join this year. I joined Team Media, so I'm listening to like audiobooks and podcasts and watching visual media for inspiration this month. There's Team Book. There's one more team, Team Crafty. And so it's, I completely forgot where I was going with this. But what do you do with when you're like we get inspired, we suck all this stuff in, we're talking to other authors all the time, and then suddenly you come across a book that is exactly your book. What do you do? What you found out that another author has the same inspiration arc that you had, and now the books are extremely similar. Like I read a series of books that called The Butter Witch, that were so close to a series called The Witches of the West that it was literally like they just changed the names and the places. So, and right now we're having this thing in media where they are just literally recycling content. They're going from the animated version to the live action version or the stage version to the movie version. And it's just like, can we get some new content? Okay, Wicked. Yes, Wicked is turning in Wicked. And Jefferson both turned into the Phantom of the Opera of this generation. It's like again. But I've already watched like 4 versions of this. Can I please have something new? So two topics on this is, what do you do when you find out that you and someone else have followed the same path? And the other thing is how do you make, on the same thing, how do you make your stuff different enough that other people will want to read it and it won't look like a knockoff? Because I honestly, I think, let's think about this for like next week, so everyone can like percolate on that, because it's really frustrating to try to like I was going through, like I'm on Consumathon, so I'm in media. I'm going through looking for new things, and I'm like, Netflix, come on, Netflix, give me something. Can I get something? And can I get and it's like, we've got a streaming service bundle, and it's like when you're sitting there and you literally cannot find anything to watch because you're caught up on your animes. I'm caught up on my K-dramas. I'm caught up on this series that I'm watching. I have finished In Plain Sight and Person of Interest and Castle again. All of those I have watched. And I'm just literally waiting for the next episodes of 911 to come out because there's nothing else to watch.
Yeah. That, and it almost makes you wonder how the copies managed to get out because of copyright. Because you know that a lot of these are within the copyright bounds, like the 70 years. Is it 70 years?
It is Disney
now for
went to court and turned it into 70 years from date of death.
Yeah. So longer than 70 years.
I mean, honestly, with the mouse, the great Overlord D and the mouse, that is probably going to become an eternal copyright because that's what they're pushing for. Is that something that is so significantly branded that I don't know if they will ever surrender the copyright for that.
And this right here, I even put a section in my new media journal for stories I want to rewrite, and why or how, because there's so many stories that just miss the mark. And I get this. I have 2 rewrites that I want to do because some of the stories that I've watched of late just did not hit the right notes. But it's almost like... Go ahead.
Raise your hand if you have fanfic ended an ending that you hated.
All the time. So, yeah, I think it's just going to be a point where we're just going to have to wait for that new one-hit wonder to take off, and then everybody's going to copy it. Like, let's see. I hate to say this because I do not like these books, but Twilight, for instance. It was a hit. I don't know why. But it kicked off brand new vampire books almost. Kind of like Anne Rice did before then. So I guess we just have to write the one hit wonder and get it published, and then we'll be the measure.
Well, it's like Harry Potter changed Magic Academia. It basically created this whole, it became its own genre of the underdog goes to schools, is special, and they're in a magic school. And then you had Percy Jackson, Reardon, and the Percy Jackson books, and those kind of bled into, and then you ended up with this whole teenagers surviving in the dystopia that came out, and those just became these powerhouses, and there's so many versions of the Hunger Games and Divergent, and I can't even think of all of them. And what is it? The Bone and Shadow.
Shadow and Bone, yeah.
Shadow and Bone, which is basically just those with like angels and demons. I mean, so it's
the Cassandra Clare books,
and it's just so it's when a genre trend, when a new book hits and starts developing into its own genre. I mean, and really, Fourth Wing is basically Harry Potter with dragons. It's Smexy time, Harry Potter, and just weird.
I haven't read it yet.
Why is she obsessed with the way she smells? Okay, that's just okay. I've DNF'd Fourth Wing 3 times. I DNF the physical book twice, or the ebook twice, and I DNF the audiobook because I couldn't. I couldn't. I hit this point where I literally skipped to the end of the book just to be able to read the last chapter so I can go, okay, so now we're waiting for the next one, which I've not read Iron Wing. And I won't because I couldn't. I couldn't. You can't have appearing, disappearing. You can't say you're writing disability rep and then have your character like abandon their disability and only be disabled when it's convenient. Also, the fact that she mocks food allergies, yeah, I try. YA, I'm with Eva. YA is not really my category, even though I write some very YA style books. But this is another topic. Is there's YA, then you have the adult, that YA writing style, like Fourth Wing, with extremely adulty themes.
I like reading the YA mainly because I'm not into spicy romance, and there's a little bit of romance in it, but not a lot. At least that's the books I've read. Or if there is, I just skip over it like I do with the other ones.
Yeah. So I didn't get on the Twilight train because I refuse to read books whenever they're popular. I'll wait a couple of years after, just so I can see the negative aspect of the reviews as well. I'm weird, I know. But by the time I got around to even touching Twilight, I was already so sick of it. And I was one of the first readers of the fanfic that became 50 Shades of Grey. And yeah, I don't want to touch either one of them. I can't. It makes me sick. I just can't do it. Eva says I was part of the train that made them popular. Yeah.
Me too.
I'm reading indie YA now. That is okay. Everything I hate about YA is typical.
Yeah, the reason I tried to read Fourth Wing is because I am a huge Anne McCaffrey fan, and Aragorn fan, and I was like, ooh, dragons. And I was in a discussion group, and everyone in the discussion were like, okay, the book of the month is this book. Let's all read it. And I had to know about it. And it's like, I'm like, if they keep comparing this to Pern, I'm going to need bail money. I'm going to need a lot of it. But yeah, it's,
No.
yeah.
This.
Also,
I get this.
Yeah. Here's a thought for thing. Okay, so you've written a billionaire romance because that's the popular trend. Billionaire romances. And nobody picks it up. So you change it to werewolves. And nobody picks it up. So you change it to aliens. So nobody picks it up. So how do you encourage an author that it's like, okay, it's not the genre, it's the story. How do you explain to someone? Because I very unfortunately have been unfriended in the last year by someone that I was just like, oh no. And it's like, it's this, you're literally writing the exact same toxic tropes over and over and over again, and just changing the species of the male protagonist.
It's just gross. I'm sorry, but yeah.
It literally, if it's now it's monsters, and it's like you. There's too many tropes in the story. Nobody wants to do that with a spider or a snake, and please. And no, spinning it and now it's turning it into mythology, like a mythology retelling is only going to work if you actually do the mythology research, because how do you help someone help themselves when it's literally the same Omega-verse reverse harem bad billionaire?
You would get tired if you're writing the same type of story over and over and over again. I couldn't do that.
She's got she's got 5 stories, and they are chapter per chapter, beat per beat, the same.
Yeah.
And in every book, the female protagonist is in the first one, she was a beautiful dancer, and who lost the ability to dance. In the second one, she was a angel. She was a wolf witch hybrid that turned into like 20 different generation of her family was a different species marrying into the family. So now she's like evolved aliens, and then it was the monster one was trend for this character, and then but it's the same story over and over and over again, and it's I don't know how to explain how strange it is to have read all of the different books over the years, and every book is the same. And
I mean, I get that readers want the same story over and over again. I mean, I read the same type of story over and over again, but
the same type of story, but not the same story.
So it's almost like she's copy and pasting one to the other, but just changing a few details. That's right.
It's like when I was working on Chimera, it was, that's right before Artemis. It was when everyone was talking about Artemis coming out, and the Muses and Medusa and all of the Greek myth retelling arc that went through this year. Everybody was doing Greek myth retellings this year. And I was like, you can't just slap this name on this character and it work, because mythology has expectations for certain characters.
Yeah. And it could just be this right here. They treat it like a job. Do the same thing every quarter. Real quick, before we go back into it, I love this for her. This is awesome. So congratulations to Courtney for getting a trad deal. So yeah, I'm happy for her, as long as she's happy about it, and it's a good move for her, and she keeps her mental health. So yeah,
that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
The publishing house. Yeah, I don't know how I would talk to that person, or even if they would want the advice. because somebody who just kind of has that mindset where they want to do that story over and over again, it's almost like
I feel like
they
she
know
feels
what they're
like
doing.
I feel like she feels like this story type, because romance and spicy romance is so popular, that she thinks that this story type is going to be her path to that author life. But it's
Missing the mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I wanted my mythos to be about tapping that, then I'd just write Fables of Zeus. I mean, yeah.
Oh, it's so many Greek heroes and Greek myth characters are just man hoes. I'll say it. They're man hoes.
They are.
They just
It's just tough because, like I said, it's almost like they're going to do what they want to do, but if you want to try to help them out, I don't know, just be like, hey, maybe add this or take this away, or here's a story prompt for you. I want to see what you do with it. I don't know. I just trick them into changing.
We don't talk anymore after I pointed out that her Persephone and Hades retelling, her reverse harem story was her Five Alphas and her Spy Girl story, and she got upset. I was like, this is just the same story, and you can't say it's Greek myth and just use the names without, because there are expectations, and you will, I mean, the writers, the readers are going to blow you up. So.
Oh wow! So,
Kat, they had asked me to alpha read,
and they defriended you because of your opinion.
and you know me, I try to be as gentle as possible.
Yeah, you hardly ever say anything negative.
I try to be as gentle as possible. Compliment, critique, compliment. Bookend it, but yeah, chestnuts. You're roasting chestnuts, Margaret. Why am I so far away from you?
Supporting people doing good takes enough energy for me. Yeah. So Eva mentioned this, and I've scanned the article a little bit. So this is another thing. This is a form of self-publishing. Authors would pay between $1,200 and $5,000 per book and would retain all royalties and rights. The profitability of the model could potentially affect authors whose primary source of income is self-publishing. The median income of authors who spent most of their time writing and publishing was $12,000 and a little change. So these people are letting authors use their AI to write for a fee. This is probably going to have to be for next time.
Oh yeah.
So we can marinate on this a little bit.
I am bookmarking this.
Yeah, and I'm going to get a hold of.
Well, you know that they're literally programming AIs to like write Jane Austen, and yeah, that author AI is something that they have been working on since the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's like, that goes all the way back to the whole thing about why do they keep recycling content? Why are, if they force self-published authors into a corner where we have to pay to fight to maintain our autonomy, then that's just more money for them.
Yeah. This is the answer to everything that is wrong with this world. See, I don't even let Grammarly near my writing because then it becomes part of their database. Yeah. Our entire executive branch is made of millionaires. Yes. Yes. That's good to know. You mentioned AI and the connection gets funky.
Well, it's been the same pretty much for the last 20 years. So yeah, and yeah, this, everyone's like, oh, it's a new problem. BS. I've been voting since the 80s, and I can tell you that politics has not changed. Yeah. And unfortunately, legacy media and those that are in control, it's always about the money. It's always about the money, and it goes all the way back. Entertainment goes all the way back. It's like, I remember when Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing came out, and it was so controversial. And I mean, it was literally a slice of life of that time. And it was so controversial. And oh goodness, what is her name? Really pretty blonde actress. She was in 9.5 Weeks and Batman, and oh my goodness, 100% control of and 100% profit from. It only benefits them.
It looks like we're having some serious internet problems here.
Oh, we mentioned the overlords. They're punishing us.
Yeah. Okay. I can't remember. About capitalism as the AI keeps rebelling. Yes, this.
Exactly that.
So I guess we need to have like a blog post where we can talk about all this.
Yes, but then it will get edited virtually too. It's the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect's not real. Yes, it is.
It is.
And what is it? The latest thing with the Mandela effect is they're trying to say that Ed McMahon was never part of the prize patrol for the Publishers Clearinghouse. Yes. Okay. Here's the thing: is people have dug up classic TV shows like the Golden Girls, where they actually mention it. I'm waiting on Ed McMahon and the prize control. There's a Three's Company blur. There's several different things where they mention, in old TV shows, where they mention Ed McMahon and the prize control, or Ed McMahon and the Publisher Clearinghouse. And so, yeah, it's basically the whole thing of they're trying to just basically F with us, trying to make us believe that what we remember is not real. And it's like, why? What? The Mandela effect is just, it was cute for a while, but now we're all getting really, really sick of it.
It's different universes.
Even in Canada. It was a big thing.
Yeah.
My grandma
Yeah.
always thought she was going to win those.
Yeah, it could happen to you. And the letters that you would get to sign up for Publishers Clearinghouse and all the things that you had to buy in order to get
Extra
chances
entries.
or whatever. Yeah, it's like my papa would do that all the time, and yeah, he got some cool stuff, but it's like, papa, no.
How many people had like relatives that had like dozens of magazine subscriptions, and you would go to their house and they'd be like, take some magazines home, because they'd have like stacks. And be like, why are you reading Knitting Today? Auto Mechanics for Dummies and things like, and it's like weird things. It's like,
Nope. It's his was pocket knives and harmonicas. I don't know. He had, like, I have a box right now of pocket knives that he signed up for the Publishers Clearinghouse thing. And my dad has another box, and I'm pretty sure that my brother took a whole bunch home too. So I mean, there is hundreds of them, and that's how many times and they're all different. Every single one of them is different.
it's honestly, it's media manipulation to create, honestly, generational social discord, because us old people were like, that happened, and all the young people are like, but it's not on Google. That's not what Google says. Google is a liar.
Yeah, the whole Reader's Digest thing. So what they're saying is no one ever won.
No, people
Probably.
Won. But here the rules of the thing was, this is the thing, and the Texas Lottery started doing this too, is the prizes were non-transferable, and they counted on the fact that statistically the lottery winners would die within a year or two of winning. So you win the payout, it's a 20-year payout. The vast majority of lottery winners never made it to the end. The clearinghouse winners, there were, but they could make so much money on this hope.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one was mine whenever the whole Mandela effect, and I'm like, this is wrong. This isn't real. But it is, because I remember BERENSTEIN. So yeah.
Yeah. And the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia.
Yep.
Behind the fruit. I remember that one because there was a guy in our high school that, for his Halloween costume, he put a cornucopia on his head with the fruit on it and wore it through school the entire day.
Yeah. Yeah, it was never hope. It was always the thing that you could buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we have gone for an hour. Do you want to go hit another question, or you want to leave for the day so we can marinate on the whole AI thing again?
Yeah, Cammie, that's an issue I have with charities, is the fact that they're only required to actually donate 5%, and all of the rest of it is just administration fees.
Should be the other way around.
Yeah, it should. There was a website that used to research all the charities, and then it got shut down because go figure. But it would list out what percentage went to the CEO, what percentage went to the actual employees, and what percentage went to the business, and then what percentage actually went to whatever you were donating to.
Like Save the Save the Children.
Yeah.
Is the Humane System, the HSPCA. Those are the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad. So I highly recommend just donating to your local stuff, not.
Yeah, donate, and you're looking for a book to buy to support. Definitely check out the AuthorTube Presents Bog Hags to help an independent animal rescue. If you go to their website page, there's also a link to their Amazon wish list, because caring for animals is expensive, and just
Yes, it is.
like
Especially
a small bag of bedding is like $10 to $15. I spent $12 on bedding for my snake and my hamster this week. So yeah. Yeah.
Here is the link to that.
Please help in the holidays, all year, not just the holidays, but all year round. Please help local charities, help legitimate charities that are actually giving 80 to 100% back. Right now, I am a huge supporter of the United Cajun Navy, simply because of all the work they are doing in the Hurricane Helene, Eastern Tennessee, Western North Carolina area. That is still going on. There are still thousands of people that are living in tents and RVs because their homes are gone. It's some of the stuff that's going on right there right now. These people, they're being literally forced out of their homes, off their land, and it's not a good thing. They still need help. It's going to take that area probably a decade or two to recover from the disaster. Like when New Orleans was hit by Katrina, it took 2 decades for New Orleans to recover, and there's still a couple neighborhoods in New Orleans that have issues. So yeah, just please. There are people who went through Hurricane Milton down in Florida that are still shoveling sand out of what's left of their homes. So, consider being charitable this year, because they're not getting help from anyone else. It's just we the people helping we the people, and that's what's going on.
Yeah. There are disasters every year, so there's never going to be a full recovery. So I've driven up there because I have family. I came from the mountains that were hit. So there is help. There are people helping. The government has helped a little bit. Everybody has helped a little bit. And every little bit counts. Don't get discouraged. But I implore you to do your research on charities and see which ones are actually helping the people. But therein again, don't get discouraged. But Margaret has a thing that she's doing. She had to wait till she was published in order to do it. So I am happy for her. I hope she has a lot of fun, and please take a lot of pictures, like was said. There are still a lot of people missing. Tennessee was hit hard, and it's going to take forever because there are a lot of factories that were hit. There were a lot of places that held the jobs for each town. These towns are small, other than the big ones like Asheville and stuff like that. So, yeah, any little bit helps. There are many organizations that are doing so. Mama Maggie mentioned one. Beloved Asheville is another one that's good, and they are starting to branch out to the other areas too for help. So yeah, Yeah, and Appalachians, we've always been the whole, hey, you need something? Here's my shirt. So there's always that too. All right, and Bog Hag Anthology link. And the Quill Cottage Roloff Rescue. Yes. All right. So let's wrap up for the day, shall we? All right.
I need to fill my 4-cup coffee cup. I'm empty. I
am too. All right. So Rita, if you want to do your outro, then Maggie, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay, I'm Rita, also Miranda over at Miranda's Cauldron, where I host writing streams Mondays and most Saturdays. I write young adult, urban fantasy, paranormal with witches and family secrets. And unlike the other two ladies, I am not published yet. But here's open 2025.
I am excited for you to be published, my darling. I am excited. I am also excited for Capture the Empress. Because, yes. Okay. Hi, lovelies. I am Mama Maggie Ward, independent author, stroke survivor, migraine sufferer. I have books. Check out my author page. I have a sale this week for Bookmas. The Book of Elo, Ghost with Cats, Ghost with Ink, Ghost with Hope trilogy. It will be on sale for 99 cents a book for the entire week of Bookmas. And, yeah. Support charities and local businesses.
Exactly. Yes. And Rita, it's soon. Thank you again for joining us. I will have a live stream tomorrow at 12 noon. And of course, another Breaking the Block episode Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. All the times that I say are in Eastern because time conversions. What is that? So
time change.
All right. So thank you again. And hopefully next time, if we talk about AI or corporations, then the internet will still hold and they won't take over. We'll see you next time.